Hello everyone, this is Reda Chouffani with Biz Technology Solutions. Today is the first series of multiple webinars that we will be publishing on our website as well as in our YouTube channel. And the focus is going to be on the trending technologies, and we're going to focus on 5 out of the top 10 that are trending for the 2013 year and that many IT executives are looking at and considering closely as they're developing their plans for the year and everything. So without further ado, a little bit about the company. Obviously you can visit our website to get to learn about our products and services, biztechnologysolutions.com. You're more than welcome to visit it and look at the different services that are offered out there. And moving on to the next slide. So as we're looking at the marketplace and what are some of the technologies out there that are highly on the radar for many IT executives, really we start asking the main question, which is what is the push and the driving force behind some of these new technologies that are being considered by CIOs and CMIOs and everything, and all the leadership from an IT perspective, as well as leadership from a business standpoint. And we started looking at, obviously, risk management is a driving force, whether it's federal regulatory compliance or corporate compliance and different things that are forcing organizations not only to properly secure their environments and everything from outside threats, but ensuring that they are in compliance with some specific regulations as well as mitigate any risks that they may have. The next area is really to identify ways to create new value. Technology, historically speaking, has always been about getting infrastructures up and running, ensuring that systems are functioning adequately, and there's always that part of technology that was always there but was not as exposed, which is ensuring that there's tangible outcome and value that a business can measure truly from the technology itself or IT. And it's always been a challenge for many to identify those areas. However, obviously there's a tremendous value of IT, and we're just highlighting that is a source of a serious push for many. So the next part is the business model innovation, and some are seeing that there are opportunities to actually create new revenue streams utilizing technology, and whether it's leveraging the existing infrastructure that will help produce products that could be resold, but also leverage how technology can be used to identify new revenue streams for the organization. Whether it's assisting marketing departments identify new markets or new clientele, or get some insights on how consumers are purchasing habits and things like that. So that's also another area of interest. We also have customer satisfaction and support. For any organization, obviously there are employees out there, and the more efficient and effective they are, the better and more comfortable they are with technology, and obviously the outcome would be better. So ensuring that end users are definitely satisfied with what is being delivered through the technology side of things or from IT. And of course, having a highly competitive landscape and due to some of the economic pressures out there, organizations are definitely looking to see what they can do to ensure to stay competitive and potentially increase their revenue as well as reduce some of their operational cost. So the 5 out of the 10 that we will focus on during this presentation, we'll start from the left-hand side. So we have the mobile devices, and I'm sure that's no surprise for anybody. We also are looking at the mobile apps and what are some of the applications out there that are being pushed and developed, as well as the system integration, data capture, and sensory information, as well as personal cloud. So we will stop there, but there's obviously the remainder, everything from social media, strategic big data initiatives, IT consumerization, and cloud, and last but not least, predictive analytics. So the first slide we'll jump on is the mobile devices. And again, this is no surprise to anyone. Clearly, from some of the stats out there, mobile has been an incredibly growing market for many of the manufacturers, and the consumers have been utilizing not only mobile phones, but we're continuously seeing a growing number of business users utilizing tablets within their work environment for business purposes. So again, this is something where a lot of the IT executives are looking in creative ways to leverage some of these devices within the enterprise environment and see how they can leverage that to create positive outcome as well as increase the value. And as we can see, the main question there, obviously, after we answer the what, is the how we can utilize some of these products or devices in this case. And simply put, I mean, the reality is that a lot of these devices need to be utilized by end users that are mobile, and they need access to real information. So deploying some of these devices, or even allowing BYOD within the enterprise where you can leverage existing devices, whether they're tablets or smartphones, to be able to deliver information as well as business applications. The argument has been made in the past, well, how can you ensure the security of the devices and everything? There are absolutely, definitely, those are valid concerns. However, there are definitely tangible options out there, not only by implementing the appropriate BYOD policies, but also leveraging some of the new upcoming products that ensure the security of the apps and isolate some of the business-related products or data from the personal data that resides on the mobile phones and everything. So I can think of a few of them. One of probably my favorite stories would be around the VMware Horizon Mobile platform, but again, there's quite a bit out there that are available that really allow you to properly secure as well as maintain the separation. But outside of the governance around usage and security, I think those products are extremely useful in terms of how the enterprise can leverage mobile devices. So the next part would be the discussion around the why. And again, as stated before, having access to information as well as some of the products or the apps that are business related, really you can leverage that to make real-time decisions with information at any point in time, whether you're on the road or business meetings and things like that. Information is accessible, as well as the ability to collaborate from anywhere and have access to the same information from any device possibly. And we'll get into personal cloud, which facilitates a little bit of that as well. So of course, now that you have mobile devices out there being deployed and utilized by end users, the big question becomes, well, what's the next big thing? Is it really beneficial to start identifying the different apps, the mobile apps that would be utilized to ensure that we are leveraging these devices? Again, these products or tablets and things like that without apps would basically be rendered useless. I mean, outside of SMS and voice calls and internet access, the apps definitely increase the value of these devices and can truly make a difference for organizations. So the main thing becomes where, as you're adopting some of these devices, identifying the appropriate mobile apps can definitely make a significant impact. In the marketplace, there are two types of possible apps available out there. There are the native ones, native apps that are developed specifically for that specific platform. Whether you're an Android user or an Android developer, in that fact that you're looking at developing an app in Java, or if you're looking at iOS or the iPhones, the iPads, clearly there you're most likely going to use products that will allow you to develop in Objective-C. In some cases we've seen Monotouch, which allows you to develop in C# native .NET, quote unquote, but you can compile it into native code. And of course, there's the Windows platform utilizing Microsoft .NET and things like that, and the upcoming one, the Chrome, which has been considering creating a mobile OS for some of the mobile devices. And of course, on the other end of the spectrum, for mobile apps, there is the option of looking at web-based apps, which has seen a significant increase in terms of use. There are quite a bit of few vendors out there utilizing that as an alternative to native apps, just simply because a web-based app is able to run on multiple platforms. And it utilizes HTML5, for example, which has a lot of the tie-ins to the hardware, but it's also independent from the hardware. So you're able to use the same application on multiple devices, which obviously does reduce some of the support and management around those products, as well as enables you to not be limited just to one, device. Now, a lot of these applications are being utilized in different marketplaces. If we look at healthcare, some of the mobile apps are extremely useful and beneficial. We see, for example, surgeons that are performing their rounds and following up with patients and everything during their rounding within hospitals. They're able to capture charges electronically using their mobile phones versus having to wait until to get back to in front of a desktop or a computer or anything to be able to enter that information. So it does help provide a platform to streamline and become more efficient. It also helps significantly for other organizations to maintain visibility of some of their business intelligence stats, as well as be able to make orders directly from their mobile phones through these applications. And these are all done by applications that are provided on these mobile devices through ERP vendors and such, where there is an app for some of the specifics ERP system is out there in the marketplace that will allow you to do, I would say, the majority of what you would typically need to do, from anything from ordering, checking the status of orders, as well as looking up some detailed information on some of the entities that basically are being used. So again, there are quite a bit of examples out there that can reflect the different uses available for mobile apps. The one question always is that whenever there's not an ideal app for the organization, is it feasible to seek maybe the development of something specific that resolves your business challenges? And the answer is, well, really, after exhausting all the different options to see if there is or there is not an alternative out there in the market that's already existing, then the bottom line, it boils down to evaluating if it would be appropriate and there's going to be a return from developing your own, whether it's in-house or contracted out. But the question, if it would be feasible to develop that app since it's not existent out there. And if the answer is yes, then by all means, there are definitely quite a bit of options out there to be leveraged and to create that custom app or the organization's own mobile app that will help it become more aggressive as far as becoming efficient and connected. So the why becomes simply improved collaboration and being able to streamline some of the processes, as well as access information on the fly, no matter what platform, or potentially no matter where. You'll have the ability to access that specific information through this mobile app and truly leverage the power of some of these mobile devices that are out there. So then we jump into the system integration. And for many, when we look at system integration and we start identifying how some of the services out there that are being provided by consulting firms and everything around the business process management, really start to look at the areas where there's quite a bit of talk around as far as getting systems to talk to each other. And basically, one example I would highlight would be in some cases, in some manufacturing or even in healthcare, let's start off with the manufacturing piece. Obviously, there's an ERP system within that organization, and there's probably another entity that deals with the shipping part. And in some cases, there's another piece that actually deals with the sales and the sales funnel, the opportunities, the the products. In other cases, there's also a warehouse management system. So again, for every organization, there are different critical business apps that are being utilized, and in some cases, they're not by the same vendor. So it is very critical to identify the value of being able to integrate some of these disparate systems and allow them to talk to each other. In the example I wanted to outline also from a healthcare perspective, we're seeing how there's tangible value in having systems within a hospital actually communicate. If you think about it, when a patient visits the hospital, that patient is probably going to be in a number of systems out there, from radiology, which will have all their imaging and everything, MRI, CT scan, X-rays. And then you have the nursing system that has all the nursing notes and everything, all the orders, the nutritionist system that has all their diet requirements and everything, and what's being ordered for that patient. There's also the electronic medical health records, and in that case, obviously medical records are stored there. Now, all those systems are great on their own. However, from a patient standpoint, any caregiver will have to have the ability to look at the comprehensive medical record of that patient. And unless those systems are talking to each other, it'll be very difficult to accomplish that. Of course, you can have somebody pull in the information from 5 different systems. However, that is a very inefficient method of doing or caring for patients, and it will significantly impact the quality of care. So those are the two examples looking at why it is very important to have the systems integrated, or identify opportunities for systems to be integrated and talk to each other. So in looking at what are the ways to basically accomplish that, really what it boils down to is identifying the systems and looking at the challenges that having different systems running simultaneously and what it would mean to integrate them. And that would require a little bit of review of the different individuals that access the different systems, and identifying if all the systems were talking to each other, whether it's from a reporting standpoint, where you may not need necessarily to integrate them, where when you pull one piece of information it shows you all the other information stored in other systems, but it could be potentially from just a reporting side, where at the end of the day all that information needs to be warehoused somewhere, and then you want to be able to pull reports and identify trend and perform analysis on that information. Other ways would be that if you're in an environment that you need information on, detailed information on whether it's a patient or a client or a vendor, but you need it from multiple systems, and in order to provide better customer service, as well as be efficient and be able to do it and access and see that information in a short amount of time without spending too much time on it, then obviously the upfront integration would be very useful, where the systems can talk to each other. So when something is done here, it is reflected on the other place to make it easier on the end users to interact with those different systems. So really, again, as mentioned earlier, at the end of the day, certain systems, when they're all interconnected, it allows for a better system use as well as improved efficiencies. Now, the next part is the data capture and sensory. And of course, this is a similar area where system integration will be utilized in some cases. The idea here is, as we're seeing the marketplace collecting all the digital information that's out there at an incredibly fast pace, information sourcing from mobile devices, internet traffic, social media sites, RTLS systems, and things like that, there's quite a bit of information being managed and moved around and captured, for that matter. I mean, there are occasions where conversations around information that's being captured on the customer's traffic or customers' browsing habits whenever they're at the mall, or they're inside coffee shops and things like that, and or inside a retail shop. Retailers need that information to identify what the consumers are looking at. So capturing the internet traffic by providing free wireless would potentially be beneficial for organizations. So all that information is captured, and there's more of it to be captured out there. And it's very valuable to provide insight. Now, there's of course other information around whether it's all the chats or the audio files that are being recorded in terms of transcription for at least on the healthcare side, or the movement of packages within a warehouse that are happening. So all that information, as it's gathered and collected, it becomes very useful, and down the road applying things like analysis and such would actually make good use of that information. So how can organizations basically leverage the information that they're able to collect? Well, the first thing is really identify, well, what information is relevant and what information can be collected. So in some cases for manufacturing, the critical information is really where the products go from being raw materials, and then they're in production, and then the product has been produced, and then it moves to storage and things like that, and sometimes all the way down to the client's warehouse. In some cases, that information may not be collected one way or the other. However, it is very critical to be able to leverage that information, because it can provide insights in terms of, is the plant efficient within its production? Are things being done efficiently in terms of how long it takes to process each item? Also, the information can be leveraged to locate specific assets. We can look at information being collected from RTLS systems, for example, and that allows to know at any point in time where specific assets are located. This is becoming fairly intense in terms of how much data can be collected with RTLS systems, especially if you're locating or getting the location of assets at a frequency of whether it's 3 seconds or a few minutes. But that information that is collected tends to get large. However, there's real value in there, and we've seen how RTLS systems are being utilized in hospitals to identify rounding patterns of nurses around patients, as well as even help ensure hygiene compliance where sensors are being detected at the at dispensers. So again, there's definitely different methods. In some cases, from a marketing perspective, information can be collected from social media sites, Twitter and the likes, where people post their comments and feedback on specific brands, and that can be utilized to identify the basically the outcome of specific campaigns or product releases. So the why is that information useful, or is data capture very useful? Well, the idea here is having that information to really identify and get insights in terms of how things are being done. So from just like the example of the marketing, if you are able to see the reaction of the marketplace without doing interviews and everything, just by simply monitoring social media sites, they'll provide you basically with a almost close to what exactly is happening out there based on or the response on specific campaigns and specific products or changes. Other ways to leverage information being collected, if we take the use case of clinical research, information that is captured from all the trials, combining it with some of the genome databases that are out there, can potentially provide insights in terms of what treatments work and have been more successful than others. So again, the data can be utilized differently. It all depends on the industry itself. And the last piece that we're going to cover today as one of the technology trends for 2013 is the personal cloud. And obviously there are different flavors out there. We've heard about private clouds, public clouds, hybrid clouds. But the reality is a lot of the enterprises are seeing the value of the personal cloud and how successfully it has been adopted by a lot of the consumers out there using services like Gmail, Facebook, LinkedIn, all those sites tend to capture some of our personal data, even obviously business data as well in many cases. And the question becomes, do we really need to consider that as something that we may potentially participate in as an organization? And the answer, it really depends. It is definitely an area that has been growing. And the main thing is to identify if it's something that an organization, if it provides services to consumers, to be able to create systems or enable its system to be accessible by not only the end users or the consumers, but also open APIs where other services can tap into some of that information and exchange more information. That way it will make that organization more valuable to the consumers, which will increase its adoption. So how to be able to do that is simply by presenting the information and such, and that it can be consumed by not only individuals but also other systems that individuals would like for that information to be consumed by. Examples such as again, some of the social media sites would be great examples, or even examples as some of the online services, the financial services that can tap into your bank account and download your transactions and provide you with the dashboards of how your spending habits are. Other examples, possibly looking at healthcare, maybe some of the PHR systems out there where information could be accessed from outside systems, of course with the appropriate authentication and everything, but so those are some of the examples. And really the reason why this should be something that needs to be considered is simply that consumers are asking for it, and consumers tend to obviously, with a large volume of consumers, the more your product is attractive to the consumers and they see that as being a valuable area, the better it is for the brand and the company as well. So basically that concludes some of the top technology trends for 2013 that we're seeing. We covered 5 out of the 10. So mobile devices, tablets and smartphones, mobile apps that obviously are required to have a good mobile strategy and good outcome of it. System integration, having systems talk to each other and leverage that integration to streamline and improve efficiencies. Data capture, be able to collect information and utilize it to provide insights into whether it's consumers' purchasing behaviors or specific patterns that you're looking for within manufacturing and things like that. And of course, personal cloud and some of the services that are being offered out there that host personal information and how to leverage them and be part of that change. So thanks again for listening in to our first webinar. We hope to have more over time and talk about different subjects that are relevant to you, our audience, and look forward to our next webinar. Thanks.